The party are enjoying some leisure time while preparations are being made to relocate the garrison. Their routine is interrupted by the arrival of a ship, and while it flies the Drekis flag, it is not a ship they recognize. Its actions raises their suspicions, so they take precautions in case it is some ploy. William, Kell Hughes, Faris, Yaramir, and a few troops go to meet the incoming skiffs, while Grimes watches from a vantage point. Their caution pays off as the new arrivals attack as soon as they hit land. Although they are outnumbered and cut off from the fort, the party fight valiantly. The battle turns in the party's favour when Yaramir's magic creates havoc in the enemy ranks. The party presses the advantage and inflicts significant damage. Eventually their foes rally and rejoin the fray, despite it being obvious that their comrades are getting slaughtered, and there being only a small chance at victory. Soon all the invaders are slain, except one they took prisoner. The party try to identify the mysterious invaders, but they find no clues on the bodies. Cal Marshall and Grimes go to the fort to interrogate their prisoner. The prisoner turns out not only to be uncooperative and aggressive, but also very rude and a Kubin. Meanwhile, on the beach, Yaramir scalps the slain, and Faris prepares a long pig stew in the woods. Who are the mysterious invaders? What news will Zaz bring? What is the party's creepy rating at? Let's find out now on Frozen Frontier.
Oh, we have an answer. It is... Oh, it looks like they say it both ways, but it would be correct to Tamar Cafe.
Tamar?
Are we live right now?
Yeah.
We're live.
Oh, yes. Frozen Frontier!
Those were literally the first words. I was about to say, and we're live, but you beat me to it, Greg. If you don't know what we're talking about, you need to catch the live stream, because then there's the pre-stream, and then we Tamar Cafe, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should just roll the pre-stream into the YouTube VODs with like a little annotation to skip to when the stream itself starts.
It's a good idea.
It could be done, but I kind of like having this be like a Twitch
exclusive.
It
feels a little dangerous. Like you can talk about the subjects that you wouldn't bore the VOD with.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's
why I suggested the annotation.
Or that are
Anyway, hi everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the Frozen Frontier. At our very special time of 6 p.m. Pacific time on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good Friday.
How long have you been waiting to deliver that pun?
About like 2 hours.
Nice. I'm very disturbed about my amount of open collar. I didn't realize this until I started seeing myself in the Zoom. But this is like looks like I'm trying to show off some chest hair.
But you got the t-shirt.
And then this looks like I need a tie really bad.
Right? Yeah. No.
Right?
Do it the other way, but get rid of the undershirt.
I'm very disturbed by this.
Yeah, you're good.
But you got to get rid of the undershirt if you're going to open it that much.
No. See, it's only one button, right?
Right.
This is the very top button. This is the tie button, right? So if I like relax and leave my shirt open, it looks like I'm going right.
Yeah.
But if
but there's not a problem with that.
Scrunch my shoulders.
Yeah,
together,
no. It looks better that way. It looks really weird if you do the top button without a tie.
It does, yeah.
Or if you can see your undershirt, that's poor form. Either go without the undershirt.
I mean, pull a Ryan. Look at him. Like he's not worrying about showing chest hair.
I was gonna say, Greg over here is worried about showing too much skin. Neal has actually had to tell me before to like go put on more clothes, Oscar. Like I was like, if I wear this robe, is it too much? And you're like, Ryan, the robe's fine. It's the deep V chest hair that's not. Go put on a shirt.
You should shave it so that it's shaped like the Batman logo.
I'm just in your chest hair.
Yeah.
All right,
not happening.
That's enough of this.
Do we do the week? Wait, how was everyone's weeks?
It was good.
That's good.
Yeah. Just good. We don't need to talk about our weeks. Let's
fine,
go. Let's go make Neal's week just a little bit saltier by killing all of his monsters.
Let's do
Can't
it.
make my week
All
salty, man.
all those swamp giants are going down.
All right, so last we left off, it is the 23rd of September. The year is 1510. Zaz's ship has been spotted on the horizon. It is coming for you guys.
Oh, the cams are wrong.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I was going to fix that, but I guess I didn't.
But we had
This stream is going great places.
I'm
There. This is a better way. We'll just leave it like this.
I'm sorry. I take full credit for this stream just derailing.
Greg, turn your camera on. I'm asking you to turn
Wait,
your
you
camera on,
turn
Greg.
the camera off. Can I? Okay.
I can only ask you to turn it on. I can't force you to turn it on.
Oh, you can't force my video.
No, unfortunately.
That's a really good call. Good on you, Zoom. Nice
But
design.
I can unmute your audio. Nick will start his video later. What the fuck?
Wait,
Nick? Okay.
wait.
Sorry, I was trying to click it.
Can you
well,
unmute me?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I can unmute you. Oh. I used to be able to unmute you.
No, only if you are the one who mutes me, I think.
No, mute yourself again. Hold on.
Can I just say, so to those poor viewers
okay.
who we insulted earlier for watching the VODs instead of catching it live, this here is a sneak preview of the exciting pre-show that you just missed. Sarcasm. You're not missing much.
It was an exciting pre-show. The pre-show is possibly the best part of the show.
I enjoy it a lot, but I'm also involved in it, so I feel like my perception.
A little bit of bias there.
Okay, all right. Serious gaming, guys.
Yep.
All right, good. So, you're in the fort. You're in Fort Wick.
Yeah.
You see Zaz's ship showing up 2 days after the foreign ship arrives.
Yeah. So we only had two casualties, right?
2 dead.
That's not
and to
too
make
bad
clear,
at all.
you didn't eat any of the dead from the camp, right?
No. I took one of the commanders that I killed. Ferris prefers to eat his own kills.
Perfect.
But Ferris was conspicuously absent that evening after the fight, right?
Yes,
he was out in the
dragged
woods
the body
with
off into the woods,
and we
yeah.
saw the smoke from his campfire.
No, he
That didn't
turned. He did
That
turn
didn't
off in the
smell
house.
like no oak logs burning.
He probably does smell like a campfire. Probably
It
does
smelled
smell
like that creepy elf was out there in the woods
I
Creeping.
think we all know what he was doing.
grilling up some man meat.
Some lung pig.
Yeah.
And some land pig.
Isn't that just a normal pig?
It's like a term for human meat. Lung pig.
Long.
Oh, they said land.
I heard land pig too.
I heard land pig too.
All right.
All right.
So how many days has it been since
2
the
days.
incident? So has the Akuban guy spoke at all yet? Like, has
no.
he
This is-
done anything meaningful?
this is
only
why you-
insults.
This is why you added a torturing proficiency to your skills list, Neal, isn't it? You're not going to give us any information until we burn a slot on that.
Ferris is opposed to the idea of torturing the prisoner.
That's where he draws the line.
Yeah, but
fair
Yaramir has
enough.
got
Fair
some
enough.
mind scraping that he presumably might have done in the last few
I
days.
think I was kind of doing my usual and overhyping the party a little bit. I don't think Yaramir can read this guy's mind or anything.
I'd be happy to
I don't
try.
think anything. Neal, does anything happen with our prisoner in the interim? I'm guessing he's chained up and he probably yells obscenities at Grimes intermittently throughout the 2 days.
Yeah.
But I don't think any information is gained.
Well, once he's fully
Beyond-
consciously awake, the Captain Hughes just straps him to a tree out in the woods and leaves him out there.
Freeze to death? So I think what happens is Grimes
Was
probably
there-
goes out there intermittently. So mechanically, what we would have to do to keep him alive even would be to wrap him in furs. And I think if we change them out, we can keep him just warm in the woods forever. So I
Well,
think
so
maybe
they'll
Grimes
chain
has
him
to
to a tree.
periodically
Go
Go
out a
out
few
there.
hours later when his con's like at 4 or 5 and drag him back in, warm him up, and throw him back out. Like, they're just
That's some
Giving him
torture.
some-
One of these soldiers has a torturing proficiency. You mark my words. They're filling in the gaps. It's just like the sled design all over again. They'll figure it out without us.
We don't need to torture this guy though. Yaramir's assured me
Yeah,
that he's going to be able to read his mind.
I think William gets to hear Ferris's objections to this.
Yarmir, do you have any
something along the lines of like, put a stop to it before he does.
Nice to see you taking the moral high ground this time, Ferris. So you've got something on the side of your lip there.
William.
So what is Yarmir doing in these 2 days? Do you have any
Well, I don't know. You've taken him away from me and chained him to a tree outside. So I guess
he's just right there in the woods for you to like. You could go out there without anyone even noticing.
Than he does.
I was going to say that I think that we should give the prisoner to Yarmir.
This is certainly something that can be negotiated with Geneva Hughes.
Okay, if it needs to be done, then shall we do that first? So sure. He's chained up outside, right? They've pulled him out. Mm-hmm. I go and see Hughes as she's walking away and say, do you really think that's going to work, just leaving him out there to freeze?
Well, he didn't want to speak earlier. And I think once the reality of the situation sets in, that this could be the rest of his life, just spent freezing and then warming and then freezing and then warming, he might speak up. Do you think of something else that might help do better?
Well, it might take a while to work that way, if it'll work at all.
Is time an issue?
Why don't we let Yarmir try his magics first?
She nods. Do you need him brought inside for that, or can you do it out in the woods?
I think it might have more effect in his room of horrors.
She motions for the soldiers nearby to go unchain him and bring him in.
I say as well, have the men check the armor and the weapons that they were all wearing, see if they can find any marks from a single blacksmith. Maybe it'll give us some clues to where they were made, or if they were all made at the same time.
She nods, says nothing.
Okay.
Nods.
Were all of the scimitars conspicuously just batch printed? They're all identical swords and identical suits of armor that dropped off of the soldiers.
All made in China.
That could be a clue.
Could be a clue.
Made in Akuba.
Yeah, it could have some sort of Akuban marks on them.
Yeah. So the guy gets dragged back into Yarmir's room.
I go in with him and I say, Yarmir, do you think you could...
Yes, as I said before, I need a couple of days to prepare and attempt, if you wish to read his mind. I have been waiting with detect magic and wizard sight prepared in case you wanted to follow up on the whole is magic affecting him, is he under a spell thing. But, I have all time in the world.
Well, here he is now. I say to the man, can you give me a minute? And I motion for them to leave.
They just dumped him in the room and left you guys to it. They're not sticking around. They don't give a shit.
Let's not resort to torturing the poor sap just yet. Let's see if we can get anything out of him in reasonable ways.
Sure. I will leave all torturing in your capable hands. Do not worry.
Leave his scalp on his head. I want a repeat of that kobold that one time.
I did not take Kobold's scalp. I simply imprinted some markings on it, which I may do to him as well.
Ah, yes, I remember that. No. Okay, well, I give a nervous glance over to the guy, and I glance back at Yaramir's table of implements, and I nod and say, well, good luck. I'll leave.
What do your tables look like, Yaramir?
So I definitely have two different things going on in the that would require tables. Mm-hmm. One of them is definitely got clay that's just been shaped in different forms, and there's this probably now it's gone from half empty to quarter empty or quarter full bottle of human flesh, and I have some ground up silver and arcane runes around this little clay figure. Mm-hmm. And then the other table is just going to be probably is going to have one good scalp on it that I'm working at a time. There's this jar of ink mixture that I've had that's made from ash and ground silver and water mixed together, and an owl feather, and it might be in some state of finished printing. And then like along the wall are probably like 38 or so human scalps that are like drying or in some state of like being prepared to be turned into actual scrolls. Along with, you know, the creepy skull lantern and all the other like strange accoutrements that we've kind of acquired.
Okay. So you have him here.
Right.
It's just the two of you.
Excellent. So, I kind of look at him and I just will cast first off I'll cast Wizard Sight and just kind of take a look at him as I stroll around in a circle, and I am looking to see if there's any active magical effects that are observable on him.
Yeah. Which guy was this that we took?
This was the leader of one of the groups. I think it was Blue Group.
Blue team leader? Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the main leader guy, this one?
He was the biggest one that you were fighting for a while, but I don't really know if there was a main leader among them.
His token was different from everyone else. He had a unique token.
No, there were no unique tokens.
Really?
There were...
Okay.
Right, yeah. There were 4 of one type, 8 of another, and then 30-something of another.
Okay, he was one of the 4 then.
Yeah. So, Greg,
So we're all...
Go ahead.
I just wanted to interject while you're talking about the tokens or whatever. So are all of these curiosities, the art objects, if you will, in Yaramir's study? Is like there's like a library
so we have
there,
this, like,
right?
library, right? That we took from the dragons, and William said we wanted to keep that with me last time. So
So I think all of them. Where's the gold? Not the gold though, but all the art objects and stuff are there, right? You were describing some in detail.
Most of
the
the
art objects and the gold, the treasure is with the Corporal Alicia and the storehouse. That girl that I awkwardly dated for a little while, and then we just dropped the storyline when we were gone for like 9 months.
Yeah, sorry for but it sounds like some of those, the more interesting pieces.
The more interesting trinkets, things that are tied to the arcane, are probably in my room.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry for interjecting.
No
That's
worries.
what it sounded like you were describing.
All right. Give me just one moment here. What the fuck does this do? The short answer is you are seeing something, but I need to find out the exact description of it.
Sounds good. Let's find that. I'm getting called out in chat for my nervousness about my button. I think I'm gonna have to just like slouch really good.
Dude, just hop off camera, take off the undershirt, and you're good, man.
I don't think I helped with my robe story, but you're fine, dude. You're fine. No, you've got an undershirt. Why would what that?
It's not that I'm worried about my chest hair or the undershirt. It just looks so like casual and floppy. Most of my button shirts don't flop open like this. They stay kind of like this-ish.
Okay,
Right?
I've got your answer for you, Army. Are you ready?
For my button? Yeah.
No, not for your button. For the in-game.
Oh, okay. Back to the sure. Yes. Sorry
to leave this
I was like, yes,
conversation. You see on this person as you're looking at him through Wizard Sight, there is an eye that sort of like forms like in lines of kind of golden yellow magic over his forehead, with very large lashes that come off of it.
Forms from golden yellow magic.
Yeah, and you recognize the shape of this eye. It is the same shape as the eye on your hand.
Interesting. Okay. Let me find my tattoo notes real quick.
Number 20.
Thank you. Okay, interesting. In the palm of my hand with large lashes. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fascinating. That's very interesting. And so I guess I spend a few moments kind of pacing around him, and I observe him with the wizard sight. And I just kind of stop, and I eventually just look him eye to eye, and I said, "So it seems you have some small enchantment placed on you. Very interesting." And I like reach out just in front of him as if I'm like caressing something, and I'm probably like touching the magic in my sight, but he doesn't see that. It's like, how did you come about this, huh? Very interesting. And I just kind of walk back around. I'll just keep talking to him as I kind of do this, right? In common, and I'm being very polite for Yaromir. Creepy, maybe, but polite. And I don't know if he speaks common or not, but I'm just going to assume that he understands me. I just ask him some questions, and then eventually I will pull out the black ink and the owl quill, and I'll find something sharp enough that I can kind of like puncture skin. And I kind of get up in front of him and I say, "It will be little process you and I have, but you see, I need to open up window into your soul. May hurt just a little bit, but I think you and I will be good friends. I saved some of your hair," and I like show it to him. It will be helpful in our experiment. Now, try not to scream too much. If pain is too much for you, we can stop, take break. Tell me apples, and that will be our word. And with that, I begin I begin putting one of a symbol of my own tattooed into his into the back of his skull and around where it's just like smooth skin. And I take my time and like try to create a nice replica of the 13-sided star around his skull, and inside of that arcane kind of focus, I begin creating the symbol for wizard sight. And I imagine that like this is taking some time. I've made sure to like prepare some ink that has like ground silver in it, and I've noticed that Yaromir at least is experimenting with the power of the components of the spells. Wizard Sight itself doesn't have a component for him, but he sees that the phosphorus and the crystalline rods that power his hypnotic pattern seem to have a great effect on Cat. So he kind of shaves, along with some silver, he shaves pieces of the crystalline rod into the ink as well, and mixes in some of the phosphorescent moss. And if he needs to get more ash to make it black, he'll do that as well. But he has this kind of like special mixture of ink, and then begins laboriously making this happen. And when the guy jerks or whatever, he just calmly is like, no, none of that. We must be careful not to torture you too much. Captain's orders.
Tomar Cafe!
That is not apples, so I will continue. I take the time to like get this done, and once it is, I'm going to prepare some of the herb that I used when I tried to speak with the voices in my head. Mm-hmm. And I give him some to like relax his mental defenses, if you will.
What herbs did you say again?
Remember when the voices talked to me in the tent and we decided that Yaromir does the mind-altering fungus or something?
Yes.
I make sure to give him a small quantity of that. I don't want him high out of his mind, but some. And then I begin, like, I put him in the center of the room where I probably have a more or less semi-permanent focus for myself. And then I will consume a spoonful of silver and some of this fungus as well. And I'll attempt to meditate using this symbol I've drawn on his head as a focus, using it as like a window into his mind so that I can see it clearly.
Okay. So that's using the hypnotic pattern and the wizard eye.
I'm using the components of the hypnotic pattern and wizard sight.
Wizard sight.
Yeah. And I think we've determined that the focus that I use has been detect magic. Mm-hmm. Oh, I described it as 12 spikes, but it's actually 10. So yeah, the focuses that I use have been my detect magic, and then I combined that with the components of hypnotic pattern and the spell glyph.
So, as you try and, what were the words that you used exactly? Probe his mind. I
try to use this symbol as like a window into his like mind or into his soul. So
that's a very accurate description, because as you close your eyes and place your hands on his temple, you see sort of through his eyes. Except it's not quite through his eyes, because it's not like darting or looking around. It just seems to kind of move as his head moves, it moves, but not as his eyes move.
Interesting. So as I'm kind of meditating and seeing through him, I'll try to like move my head through that, see if like it changes the vision, if I can move him like VR maybe.
No, you cannot move him.
Okay.
But you see your head move when you move your head if you're standing in front of him.
Interesting. I can see through his eyes and I can see me.
Not quite through his eyes. Through, now that you're looking at about the place where that eye is on his forehead, it's seeming as if you're seeing through that elevation.
Okay, interesting. I guess that I take this as a sign of success, and I kind of like, he doesn't understand me, so I just kind of like press on his head and try to like push him down and like begin sitting myself. And I will begin trying to meditate kind of the way I do through the fog, but I want to like meditate through that point that I'm seeing, and try to get like inside. I want to turn that vision from outward to inward.
Describe that process one more time.
So the way you describe it is like I can see from the tattoo on his head out. Mm-hmm. So I want to sit him down so I can meditate a little bit, and I want to. If it's like a lens and I can see this way, I want it to turn it around so to see the other way. I guess the only way I know how to do that is through meditation and like mental effort. And should that not work, I have an idea to do a little like standard wizard magic, but I would like to try this first.
Trying to reverse the lens or see the other way through the lens doesn't seem to be working.
Okay.
But he will call out to you and kind of yell during the process.
ماذا تفعل بتوقف عن الذكي؟
Well, that's very strange.
But he sounds like a person and not a robot. But I figured it's better to give like actual language instead of me making weird sounds.
Right, okay.
You know what you need to do, Neal? You need to learn like 4 other languages now.
I might.
That's what I was saying earlier about the Spanish. We could,
Is there a way to copy that while I'm in a trance? Like, can I memorize that? It's very hard. If I give you a sentence in Spanish, right, and you don't speak it, you would probably not be able to repeat it back to me.
Totally.
So is there some kind of skill or magical check I could make to like auto record this? Could I turn myself into a typograph?
I don't think so.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that was just him saying it. It wasn't anything magical. It was just his regular voice, but...
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it just sounded like a robot.
Yeah, because I'm using Google Translate to provide...
Right, okay. I don't know how I'm gonna try to capture that for a later date. Okay, so we spend some time with this. I decide that I haven't gotten quite what I want, and will instead use my other 3rd level spell for the day as we kind of... I want to do it while we're still kind of in this trance. I don't know if that'll have any effect or not, but I'll reach out and touch the magic eye, and I'll try to dip my finger in it and like change its shape. And I'm going to instead like try to manipulate it into the shape of a vase that's like slowly disintegrating. And I cast Dispel Magic on it.
All right. What are the rules for dispelling magical effects? Let's roll those. You roll a d20, right?
I think it rolls I think the person who's having it cast on him rolls a saving throw, because I'm pretty sure Nick was the one rolling for all his...
I think it's the caster, isn't it?
Which caster? There's many casters.
Let's look. Regal.
I think it's based on whoever cast the original enchantment, right?
Dispel magic.
I mean, there is a d20 roll that is based on...
But I think it's based on the caster level of the wizard who cast the enchantment
versus the caster level of the wizard casting the dispel magic.
Right. So if this is a 20th level enchanter who enchanted this guy, the GM rolls a saving throw based on the level 20 wizard.
Okay, so every level difference changes the chance by 5%. The default chance is 50%, which is if they're equal level, which would be 11 or higher on a 1d20. So if it's higher level, it goes down by 1. So let's say it's like 3 levels ahead of Yarmir. Yarmir would have to roll 14 or higher on a d20. And if Yarmir has a level advantage, he'd have to roll like 10 or 9 or 8 on a d20.
So I was totally wrong. In true 2E fashion, they just rewrote the rules for the specific spell.
Yes.
So it looks like they don't even use saving throws, right? There's like a d20.
I'm very impressed you got to that before me, because I was preloaded into the spells, and like I only got to it by the time you were describing the effect.
I control F'd and just rapidly clicked until I found
I should have controlled F. Yeah, I didn't control F.
Sean should just play all of our characters for us.
Okay, real talk. One of the reasons I started DMing was because I watched the original roleplay and I was like, man, I'm really good at keeping rules in my head.
Yeah, I have trouble watching Neal's like other shows for that reason, because I'll be like, why didn't you look it up faster? I know that rule. Why am I not in the game right now?
Or like you're on the 25th episode and somebody's like, what's the rule for this? What's my bonus to hit again? And it's like,
yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna let you roll a d20. I know the number that you will need to succeed. So it's normally an 11 or higher. So if you succeed with a 10, they're at least 1 level before you. If you fail with a 15, they're at least 5 levels above you. So go ahead and roll a 20-sided die. Well, you fail.
Okay.
You fail to dispel the magic.
Okay.
Can you not try again until you level up, or can he keep on
I think it's
magics?
I think it's every time, yeah. Let me check.
Yeah. Doesn't say anything.
I think you can just keep trying to dispel it over and over and over again.
Yeah, which makes sense, because it's limited by having to relearn the spell every time.
Right, yeah.
I wrap up my magic for today, and I just kind of give him a little pat on the cheek. I'm like, this, and I'm like, you did well. We will try again tomorrow.
عطني.
All right.
And then I just go about doing my thing. Like, I just like leave him in the center of the room and, go about my normal day.
Let's check in with everybody else then. What are the rest of you guys doing?
Ferris is probably sitting around. Life is good. I think he's thinking about picking up a journal at this point, because one thing that we put on hold until we had like a big amount of excess cash was buying a journal because they're pretty expensive. Mm-hmm. But I think he wants to buy one of those now, or he's probably going to bring it up with the army. I think he's kind of fantasizing about that right now, kind of planning out how he wants to.
We bought you a journal already, my man.
Did we?
It came on the boat.
Oh, I thought you took it off.
You're already writing in it.
All right, yeah. Ferris is kind of planning out what to do with his new journal. Then I think his current plan.
When Nos comes back. All right.
Shit, I wish I knew cool spells like Yarmir.
Deleted that requisition
write them down.
So I hope you wrote down how many pages we bought you.
I think we did like a smaller journal with 50 pages, so we paid for 25.
We folded them up. So
we folded them in half. Yeah.
So I think it's like 25 pages, but it's like 50 pages, but half size.
Right.
Which is fine.
Okay.
And I think at this point he's probably planning like poetry, but it's meant to be like describing the actual adventures.
Do you write it in Elven?
Probably, yeah.
What a cop out. Then you don't have to actually write it and share it with the chat. Just be like, oh, it's just beautiful Elven poetry. If you could read Elven, you'd understand.
Somebody actually wrote a poem for Ferris, and I meant to reply because I thought it was awesome, and then I kept forgetting because I was doing other things. And after like a month, I was like, well, it's too late. I can't do it anymore. I have to never acknowledge this now.
Now you've ruined it.
Yep. It was good too.
What do you use
I like to think you write very minimalist poetry. It's like 1 or 2 sentences.
Maybe Elven poetry is that way. I'm thinking like
maybe might be a very laconic
in
language.
Symbolic languages.
Yeah, it could be like a very
that aren't enough.
Someone in chat's like, I ate a human today. It was good. Quality poetry.
It might be like a very condensed language though. Like I know certain languages are like quicker at expressing ideas in fewer characters. Like isn't Japanese one of those languages? Like they found that Japanese people were hitting the character limit on Twitter far less often than English speakers.
I would expect. I was thinking of Chinese, which is similar, same language family, right? Where you've got symbols, where there's thousands of these symbols, each with much more subtle meaning than versus like alphabetic.
Yeah. So he probably does do Elven, thinking that it's like a much more space efficient language to write in, and also that it's clearly superior to disgusting human language.
Ugh. So, shall we just start counting through the days? Because Zaz's ship is going to return.
I mean, you've already told us that Zaz's ship is going to return. Yeah. I mean, knowing that, that I think Grimes would have been on high alert. Like, I think I would have been. Okay, go ahead.
That's fine. Yeah, never. The next day, I want to repeat like that same process, but either have Grimes in the room or like asked to borrow his ring.
Yeah, that could have happened. Which would it have been? So I was gonna say I think Grimes is on high alert. Like I think when you tell us Grimes is, or not Grimes, you tell us Zaz is coming, and
yes,
so that kind of changes. It makes it hard for me to think what I would have done. But I probably would have been like, okay, what if another? What if the ship comes back with more?
I think the day that he is asking you to do this is the day that Zaz returns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there was the battle that day. Then I think Yarmir investigated the next day.
So I think I'm worried that the ship's coming back or something. So I think I'm like taking watches and sitting on the post with a crossbow or something in case the ship comes back. But Yarmir could have totally come and asked for the ring. Or
let's get to September 23rd before Yarmir gets a chance to find Grimes. Zaz's ship is spotted. Let's just.
How many days is that since the battle?
2. Battle was on the 21st. This is the 23rd.
So 1 day of healing. I guess I would like to speak to Hughes this morning.
She is preparing for Zaz's return. By the time you wake up, the ship is spotted.
Okay, well, that's good.
William brought up healing, which reminds me, I'd like to make a point of tending to any of the injured soldiers at the fort with my herbalism to kind of A, show off to Elizabeth a little bit, and B, be seen as being helpful.
Okay, that can be done.
Everyone heals for 1 extra HP, right?
Elizabeth is a fantastic doctor. She's been training to be a doctor for ages. It's her primary skill set. actually, more so than fighting. But
we roleplayed this in the past. I was helping her with anatomy because she didn't have that. Now I have herbalism. She's taught me some things.
Exactly. So your herbalism is a really nice addition to her existing medical skills, and really helps like bring things together. It's a very nice combination, the two of you together.
Nice.
Can he use his herbalism on her healing? Is that like mechanically? Is that how it would work? Right.
Yes.
Like so, one herbalist can supply multiple healers with medicine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
So
it's like having
so everyone in the fort heals at 3 HP a day.
Right. It's like having an anesthesiologist in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's continue. Oh, that's it.
I think he interrupted you telling us about Zaz's return. Grimes is probably with the first of the soldiers down to meet her at the beach and murder him if it's Cubans.
So, the ship is being spotted. The soldiers all arm up. The alert is set, and Captain Hughes heads down to the beach with about 20 soldiers and a bunch of sergeants. And a single skiff rows out, just like usual, carrying Zaz and a couple of the other people. She makes landfall at the little tiny dock that has been set up there, looks around at all the armed soldiers, and... Is there a problem? Hughes says, we've been attacked. Had to make sure it was you. Zaz looks around. There's probably maybe a little bit of blood on that tree over there. It's been a couple of calm days, so there's actually probably blood stains still on the snow. It's been really calm days, actually. 5s and 4s, so
there's just nothing, right? Like there's just blood all over the place still.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a gruesome sight. Zaz pulls out 2 letters and immediately hands them to William. Just pulls them out of her.
And then she pulls out her scimitar and attacks.
No.
I take the letters and I hand her the one back that I wrote for the princess.
She looks at the front of it.
I say, This is for Princess Stella. Please make sure she gets it.
Would you like me to seal it for you?
Have I not? I think I might have already sealed it.
I mean, I don't think you brought any sealing supplies with you, did you?
I feel like that'd be something that you'd bring, because he needs to be able to write letters back. I think he planned on that from the beginning.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's enclosed as a scale of slits.
Perfect.
In the letter. Okay, so I send that back, and then I hastily open the letters, hoping for clues as to what happened.
I will send you 2. I will PM them to you. You can read them to the party or not. You can post them to chat or not.
I suppose I should read them.
Neal, is my cousin amongst those who rowed the skiff ashore or not?
No.
Okay.
But I believe you guys have a bunch of supplies that should be arriving this time, or... No, they arrived last time.
They arrived while we were gone.
Okay, yeah.
And we have a bunch of loot that is going back with Zaz, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Oops, this stuff isn't here.
Neal.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'll just scheme publicly for all of chat and the rest of the party to hear, because who cares, whatever. Is there I don't know if using Undercommon or Thieves' Cant as the base, is there a system of symbols to mark things?
Definitely.
So I'm thinking they're like hobo street signs, this house is will give away free meals.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Hobo street signs.
Something along the lines of, this case is the one with the good stuff in it.
Absolutely.
Can I, so in the box, so I probably even helped sort the stuff. There's probably a box that has all the miscellaneous art objects in it, whatever that is, right? There's the gold, there's the silver, and then there's the box that has the art, the highly valuables,
it's not in a box yet. You can do that with Zaz and everything, but
okay. So as that's happening, I think Grimes will discreetly carve in the this is the good, yeah. So in a stuff. Yeah, it's a symbol that only I don't know. Right. Someone in the know might understand.
All right,
would have been preferable to
why don't you
to discuss terms of this. Should I roll a sleight of hand?
No. I was gonna say design your symbol right here on the map so we can see what what is the hobo?
Oh, I don't even.
Sign
it's got to be something that I think it'd be a series of like like Grimes is illiterate, right? So it's something that
paint us your hobo street sign that says this is the good stuff.
So it's like gashes like that with a knife in the side, and there's probably a whole series of them that mean different things,
right? Or
various different symbols that you could quickly carve with the. Yeah. So my hope is that that's like going to auction or something, and the family will know to bid whatever on the the high value low, like this. Here's some random Caledonian vase that we don't know what to do with. Mm-hmm. Sell it off for war money. Mm-hmm. But more likely than not, some cousin's going to mess it up and it's going to get stolen and come back to me. But you can make those DM rolls in secret.
I will. Thank you.
So. Can I do some stuff?
No. Sean, what do you want to do? Just kidding, Nick. Yeah, you can do it.
I don't know. I don't think Ferris has a whole lot to do. I'm going back to working on the leather. I think he's mostly in downtime mode right now, right? Okay. Like Ferris doesn't have a whole lot of interesting stuff going on. He's kind of like day after day, just like I am making 3 sets of leather armor. And
perfect.
It's gonna be great. Dragon hide armor, and it's gonna be great.
All right. Nick, what do you want to do?
Okay, so I haven't written letters to some of the people that William wants to send letters to, so is it okay if I just sort of talk through what it was?
Yeah.
Okay, so alongside the letter to the princess, I would like to send a letter to my daughter and one to my wife. The one to my daughter's got a dragon scale for her sister, and also it mentions, here's my old sword for you to practice training with.
Right.
The letter to my wife talks about the sale of the property. I know it's distressing, but don't worry. I've sent money back with this shipment that should bring our property back into our control, and I'm safe and well. The expedition's taking a turn for the better, and hopefully our position at court will be improving.
Wonderful.
And with that, I ask her if she can help me by speaking to... Would my wife be able to speak to the princess?
Probably not.
Okay, so maybe I don't say this to her then. I might need to tag. So I finished the letter to my wife and send it. It's just an update. And then I need to update the letter to Princess Sella, or just write another note that I put in there, asking her if she can look into my brother's erratic behavior and sending his men to fight alongside Rolwick in Old Verdan.
Okay.
And if she can encourage him to return and defend the land, or if she could provide some troops to deal with the goblins that are raiding the villages.
Okay.
And I think I need to write something to Richard, but just a brief one, basically saying that thank you for the naval survey and for his concern and for helping my position at court. And I agree that the financials have been steadily declining as our efficiency's been suffering due to sleet. And I explain that whole thing. And then say, but that's dealt with now. Hopefully this money that's come along will significantly improve the standing of the expedition, and that we're moving into greener pastures down south, and I expect more wealth to follow.
Excellent.
Okay, so do you guys want me to read the letters? Chat, I imagine, probably does. I don't think I'm going to read them to the party, like in actual game. But I'm prepared to read them if you would like me to.
If you would like to share them with the chat, yeah, do it.
Okay, so I've had some other letters on this, but my older brother James, who's not my oldest brother, is concerned that our oldest brother Stephen, who's in charge of our family seat, is going a bit crazy, and he's becoming very erratic in his decision making. And my latest letter says, William, your father-in-law assures me that you live, yet I see your house is up for sale and your wife has not heard from you in ages. Stephen's behavior is more and more erratic. He has called all his spears and sent them to war alongside the Rolwick family, leaving our villages undefended. Goblins have been taking advantage of the situation and begun raiding. He has begun to insist that the farmers advance a year's worth of fighting time to him and deploy north. Our people bleed, we must act. If you can provide no help at court, I will take these matters into my own hands. Your brother, James Marshall. And then I have another letter from Richard, and Richard's been keeping me up to date of the war against Mistrea and the losing of Eridon. So they're sieging the town of Old Verdan. That's the Rolwick family doing that. And they also sent a small fleet of ships to White Harbour, the town on the coast near Shirebrook. But they've been lost. They've lost all communication with them. They're not sure what happened because there shouldn't have been that many men at Whiteshore. And they also sent some troops into Shirebrook through the Shirebrook Forest, which, what we know is probably not a great idea. But his latest letter says, to Captain Marshall, the siege of Old Verdan holds strong. Major Tavington has led the Rolwick cavalry to a great victory against Honeyreach and is moving to act against Halfhill as well. With the southern towns and villages of Mistrea under our heel, we are in a position of great strength. Their fields and herds feed our soldiers, while what little wealthy impoverished settlements had fills our coffers. In Eridon, things do not go so well. The second fleet is still missing, and the diviners say our forces at Petersburg have been slaughtered. The Shirebrook Forest provides too much cover to see how fares the battles there, but Newfort looks to be held by a handful of men. I had hoped by now you would have something more to show for our efforts in Caledonia. As of this writing, the kingdom has spent more than it has received, and there is talk of calling off the whole thing and bringing you back to answer for your inaction. Acting as your father-in-law and as your steward, I have gone to court to put right the minds of those who know not of your bravery, but you must act quickly. I can only say them for so long. I have attached a record of finances so you may better understand the situation we are in. Your faithful steward, Richard. So I sort out the whole letter thing. Mm-hmm. I know, I went through it quite quickly, but I write letters back to the people that need them. Okay.
And you say nothing of the impression that the party is making on the people back home. You keep the party in the dark that there are troubles back on the mainland.
Yeah, I don't think it's any of their concern.
I think we heard about that, right? Like
there's a war.
Demon invasion. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We didn't hear about the demon invasion.
I don't give you the specifics of the battles. I don't really think it's.
I don't think Grimes
I don't think any of us care.
I'm Drekian, right? What do I care about war in Eridon?
Yeah. I don't think it's above that pay grade.
Perfect. All right.
And I think by the time you finish Ryder letting you look up, and the ship's already loaded.
The ship is beginning to load. Grimes, you'll probably see your cousin at some point helping to load these things into boxes. Which
that would be great, because I would like to pull him aside and have a bit of a chat.
Sure, a quick chat with your cousin.
Yeah, I don't know if we even need to roleplay this. Basically, I'll be like, so I marked the high value stuff. Now you can't just go skimming off the top because they know how much it's all worth, roughly.
Well,
but with these sorts of things,
the ports back home are busy. War's going on. Things are being moved around. Sometimes things go missing.
If a few things go missing, a pound or two goes missing. Where a pound of gold is worth a lot less than a.
These boxes look pretty weak. One of them might just break open and spill in the streets. Could be problematic. Oh well, I'll keep a close eye on this one. Make sure it doesn't crack open while we're carrying it.
All right, you're more cautious than I am, cuz. Okay, yeah, I'm glad we see things on the same page. All right, you'll figure it out. I give him a pat on the back. Yeah, it'll be fine. Okay, yeah. That's all I need to make sure that he understands that I haven't done the paperwork and.
Yeah,
I'm thinking like maybe this stuff is probably going to auction or something, right? Like how does the princess get this converted into like steel for the battlefront, right? So she probably auctions it off, and
most of it
maybe the family swoops in and buys it up at half of what it's actually worth because they know, or maybe the box just gets broken and they throw some other vase in, then like break another vase in the street and run off with the actual art object.
I don't know.
You better not fuck this up.
So I've got one more thing to do.
Okay.
I want to go and speak to Alicia. And I assume that she's in the middle of having all the stuff taken out of the storeroom and loaded on the ship.
Sure, but before we get to Alicia, there's an issue that we need to address. It's been brought up by chat in the Reddit thread. David, the cook, father to Amelie, is a Cuban. By birth.
Oh, that's what Greg was messaging about.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
I don't know if that's what Greg's messaging about, but that is a real thing. And so at some point, I think you guys are beginning to, all the soldiers came down, all the soldiers start coming back up to start unloading loading the treasure onto the skiffs. And David's out in like the middle of the snow, bloodied and beaten, just kind of like sprawled out in the middle of the courtyard of the camp.
Oh no.
I think Ferris runs up to make sure he's alive, for starters.
He's alive and sort of just blinking up at the sky.
Okay, Yaramir, get over here!
Yeah.
What's going on? Who's down?
David's.
David.
How is he sick?
No, he's been beaten. He's lying like bloody in the courtyard.
Oh, okay. Wow.
You guys arrive and he's sort of like shaking. He goes, it's on the roof. Hit the fireplace. Fell. It's okay. It's okay. Nose will set again.
So it looks like he's been kind of.
Can I like look? Yeah. Can I look around?
Like he's taken a bunch of injuries, right?
Do I see any guilty-looking soldiers?
His face is bloodied and bludgeoned. There are no guilty-looking soldiers anywhere.
It's not like if this were a movie, I'd look up and there'd be a crowd of soldiers, and I'd see one, or a group like slinking away or sneering in the corner. There's no such.
We do long-form collaborative storytelling here, so we don't use any like quick narrative techniques to tell you who the guilty party is right away.
Can I just roll for it? Like, is there
go ahead, roll something.
Maybe a gauge check.
Yes. Gauge to find the person who beat him.
I mean, if he looks at a crowd, could he like try to find like a suspicious reaction in a crowd? Would that be a gauge thing?
Perhaps it would be a charisma check, I think, more than that.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
It sounds like we don't see anything on it.
No, you don't. And Ferris, you start helping him to his feet, and he kind of gets up, rubbing, and goes, "Oh, the roof, it's so high. I just slipped in the snow. Ow."
You should be very careful about high roofs. They are quite dangerous. Let me patch up your face.
I can give you some climbing lessons if you need them.
I think I'll just stay off the roof from here on.
When I look at the roof, when I look at that roof, I don't see like any soldiers that were on it like slinking off or anything, right?
Nope.
Okay. It's like he kept mentioning it, and I was like,
Ferris.
"No, I know that," but he keeps mentioning it. It makes me wonder if he's like trying to say something. So Ferris does look at it, but
so seeing David deny that he's been beaten up, I turn around and storm off after Captain Hughes.
You find her in her room, but I think first we're gonna flip over to Yaramir, who's pulled David into his little study where there's still that tied up a Kuban man.
Yeah. And then I kind of
two beaten Kuban men in your room.
I pull out some herbs and I kind of begin doctoring his face up and bandaging and stitching, and I say, this brings to mind a potential problem. Do you know where Amelie is?
He kind of freezes for a moment in terror and begins to relax. She is practicing her skis. She's practicing skis.
Okay, yes. So I will go find her and make sure she does not have similar problem with roof that you do. I have a favor to ask. This man here, he spoke to me when I was talking to him, but I don't believe I speak his language. Would you perhaps have the opportunity to talk with him? He is under some kind of spell, so you may not find him a very good conversationalist, but perhaps he may talk with you more than he does my friends.
David gives a single word to the guy.
مرحبا.
To which the other person kind of blinks a few times and starts babbling at him.
الذي تفعله في العمل لهؤلاء الناس.
And they begin to chat back and forth.
I will leave you to it. And then I go... I assume that I have a vague knowledge of where Amelie practices skiing.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I go to find her.
Okay. You find Amelie, sure enough. She's putting around on skis out in the clearing, maybe 100 feet from the wall.
Cool. I just go play with Amelie, right? Like, I'll get my own skis and be like, "Oh, it is practice time, is it? Perhaps we shall practice. I race you to closest fern."
she gets excited and wants to race you to the closest fern, and then looks around and sees there's no ferns in this damned snow-covered place and goes, "What about that tree?" And just
perfect. It's the best fern I could find. And yeah, I basically being bodyguard by way of just being around, right? I'm playing with her. I don't mention that her dad was beaten or anything. I just, play with Amelie for a while.
Okay. Alrighty.
So, I have a question. So last night while I was taking watches, waiting for the pirates to come back, I probably took a break with the soldiers, and that break probably turned into gambling all night.
Of course.
Thanks to whoever in chat actually recommended this line of thinking. But would I have noticed any? Like, was there any casual, like, racist banter? Is that a thing that's going on in the camp right now? Are they blaming the Akubans for?
Definitely. It should be more kingdomist rather than racist. They're not a separate race of people. Just like nationalist problems, if you can even have.
I should probably treat such issues a little more sensitively, but
whatever. Yeah. So yes, there have been.
Was there nationalist banter at the campfire last night?
Absolutely. The kingdoms of Drekis and Akuba have had long and stiff tensions for a period of time.
There was probably racism too, right? The elves are sketchy as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the Akuban thing is new. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it's probably I can't identify a particular group. It's probably widespread. Like, I guess there's.
It's like the entire population of the camp, except for perhaps Hughes, who doesn't join in on this stuff, and maybe Elizabeth, who's a little bit more neutral and scientific minded. Everyone else is, fucking Akubans, blah blah blah. Like walking funny and being like, "Look at me, I'm from Akuba." All the normal bullshit that comes with.
And David's the only Akuban they know. We may need to.
And he was
keep an eye on him.
It was cool. Everyone liked David. But now.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I go to speak to Captain Hughes.
You find her in her section, her little room.
Hughes, we've got a problem. You need to control your men. Somebody's beating up David.
I need to control my men.
Yes.
What about that elf of yours?
What do you mean? Don't play what about with me. Look, somebody's beating up the cook. Not only
your elf ate a person. He dragged him off into the woods and did God knows what to him, but I saw him taking a cooking pot out there.
Yes, yeah. Well.
So, why don't you go shut the front door, be on the other side, and when you have control over my men, you can tell me how to control mine. When you have control over your men, you can tell me how to control over mine.
That's fine. I'll deal with it myself. And I go out and slam the door. And there's like a barracks.
I think you probably see Ferris like in the hallway at this point.
I go to one of the rooms with there's like 4 rooms for all the soldiers.
Yep.
Ferris, come with me.
Very well.
So I go into the first room.
You find 2 soldiers kicking back with a little bit of time off.
And I expect them to stand straight and salute.
They get up, but it's kind of a lazy stand. They don't hop to attention. They get to their feet and come to a straightened position and look at you, but they don't really,
So to be clear, do I have no authority over these men?
You absolutely do. You are a higher ranking officer in the army. Of course, yeah, definitely.
So I address them by name and say, go and gather the rest of the men immediately.
What about the men on watch? What about the men loading the ship? What about the men on patrol, Captain?
Gather any men that are around here. I need to talk to them.
Captain? What
you.
radius does around here encompass?
Fuck me. These guys. Anyone who's not on official duty, who is in the fort right now, can you please gather them so I can speak to them?
Yes, Captain.
And don't take that tone with me.
Yes, sir.
You little shit.
They spread out and gather all the men who are around in the fort who aren't on duty. And you have
I think as we're like walking down the hall, Ferris says, I have to say, William, you're surprisingly tolerant of loose tongues. Even I don't get that sassy with you.
Well, let's Give me 20 minutes. All right. So when they get there,
Yeah,
right.
you get 5 soldiers standing around.
All right. I know you know what happened. One of you needs to tell me right now who attacked David. Or else you're all going to be running laps in the snow for the next 2 weeks. They just blank me.
Not a word said by any of them.
I nod, and then, all right, I say, well, you best get started. I said no, you little fucks. Get running.
Where?
Outside the fort, laps.
They give a sigh and start jogging laps around the fort.
This didn't go as I expected, Faris.
Is that a thing?
Perhaps this is a bit too...
They just make them run?
I'm sure that's a thing, yeah. I have to say, I don't know if the public approach might, if it's the best approach. Perhaps we could find who did it and I can make them disappear.
No. Whoever thinks themselves so tough that they can beat up on the cook can
should disappear.
No, there'll be no murder, Faris. But I will hand them a little bit of their own medicine when I find out who did it.
Very well.
Okay.
All right. I think we're going to take a break here, and we're going to come back on the other side of the break. And I think you guys have a lot of downtime. I think we can blaze through some bookkeeping with spell learning and armor making.
Before we pass that day, can we assume a requisition order was placed with Zaz and then fill it in on our own time?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. We'll see you guys on the other side of a break. Bye-bye.